Hey HTDA and welcome back to Patron. Last time we built quite a few houses, actually had to build 8 more over here. And of course these are now all stone houses, which allow us to seat 8 people in them. We have another trade seeder, which is going to sell us the magic recipe for corn. So, that's awesome. I'm gonna deal with that at some point, but for now what we're going to focus on is a couple of needs that we haven't met. So as you can see, religion is taking quite a hit. People want some more focus on their gods, and they're currently not getting that. The safety is slowly going up. It takes a while for things to go down, and it also takes a while to get those back up. But right now we do have watchtowers next to all of our houses, so that should be fine. Just double checking on this watchtower over here actually. It's not covering this house, I believe. This house was actually not covered either, but I put down another one because we also had 2 of those farmhouses over there. So that should cover pretty much everyone in the range. But however, we definitely need to deal with religion. What we also need to deal with is education. As you can see, the merchant class wants some more education going around. And considering we have about 180 children, really, stop having babies, people. We have to feed all these people as well. For now, not a problem, but I'm actually a little worried about how fast our population is going to explode at some point. But one thing at a time. So we're going to research the church and then as well the school. And after that, we're going to also research the neighborhood school, which basically just gives a buff to your school if it's close to houses. We happen to have a huge amount of houses in our neighborhood. Now, what we can also do, by the way, is enact this policy, which will actually give us quite a bit of extra coins per house. This is a huge buff, considering the amount of houses that we have, but it will also not make people happy about the taxes, so we do need to be careful with that. But schooling and church coming up in a moment. I think the game smelled that we were going to be working on a religion because we actually got this event popping up, which allows us to spend some wine, cotton, and cider and then just make people happy. Well, most people happy anyway, because the merchants and gentry apparently do not like us giving wine to the poor people. So yeah, anyway, let's just go with that. That gives us a boost. Something else I want to do is actually upgrade our carpenter's huts because we are going to need some furniture. Why are we going to need furniture? Well, the church over here is actually going to require furniture to build. Now, this is a huge building, as you can see, which is a little inconvenient considering the size of it and where we want to put it. And there's not really a good place where we can really cover the entire area that we might want to cover. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to put it straight next to the market. At least that's the way it's central. We are going to be building a lot of houses around there, and that will take care of that. Now the other way to increase religion, just in a much smaller area, is actually the shrine. Now that is a lot easier to place. So let's once again check where we have the range of the church. So we kind of need to cover the sides of this. So we can probably go and place down some shrines over here. We have this little road in the back over here actually. That goes something like that. And if we turn on the grid for a moment, we should be able to find a place to build a shrine. Like over there, for example. And then maybe just one additional shrine over here, because why not? Now, in terms of religion, we also remember you have those houses over here. So why not just put a little shrine over here? Now, these shrines don't actually cost all that much. They actually don't require upkeep as far as I know either. We are going to have to put in a few of these shrines somewhere. I'm actually wondering if I can just put the shrine over here and make it work, but let's just do it like this. And then a shrine like that. And then with a little road so people can actually reach it. Like I said, I'm not actually entirely sure if people do need to be able to reach the shrines. It would make sense, don't get me wrong. I'm just not entirely sure if the game actually registers it that way. Where was the other shrine? It was over here. So then we put another shrine over here and maybe one more over here. We could go with the church, but honestly, Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily something we want to do at this point. Mainly because the church building is so large, it really gets in the way really quickly. Now this is the market that I'm clicking. So now we have a cleric over here. Look at that upkeep. It is huge. Huge. But it does actually it increases the happiness and reduces the impact. And okay, so if we expand this, we actually just get a bonus to religion without actually needing to put in more clerics. How far does this go up? To 5. Okay, so we get a religion +1 bonus. I'm not entirely sure if we can see what the bonus is from the shrine. But let's assume that that gives a pretty decent bonus as well. And speaking of large buildings, if we look at the school, which we now have unlocked, where is it? Over here. Yeah, schools are big as well. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We are slowly expanding the general area where we are building houses. And rather than trying to keep it completely symmetric, I don't think that's going to work with the amount of buildings that we have to kind of fit in between. I'm just going to plop it down here in the middle. We are currently expanding our like residential zone in all directions. We have some houses here as well because, well, people are growing up and they need houses to live in. Apparently they want to have their own house for their own family. The interesting thing is that a lot of these houses actually don't have 8 residents in them. Not entirely sure what that implies, because to be honest, of course, you can only have one family in one house. I'm just looking at the last person here, Barabla. Is that the name? Barabla? She's working as a worker at age 12. Well, we should definitely put our people to work at a young age in this town. Anyway, the thing is, we have this school over here. It is not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily need to be close to houses, but it will definitely improve its efficiency by 1% for every house that's closer there. Because once again, we now discovered neighborhood school, and this will get us a buff of at least, what is it? 20% or so. And let's make sure we assign someone to it. Let's make sure we insulate it. That's a thing. Is that just not the same thing as just reducing the upkeep? At least that's what it feels like. And apparently if you upgrade this building, and this is the interesting thing with some of these higher end buildings, this is not just a matter of putting more professors in it, or what are these people called anyway? Oh, teachers. Oh, that makes sense. It just increases the amount of slots you have for students. And we actually don't have enough furniture to put chairs in here for those extra students. But this should definitely allow us to kind of educate our young citizens, and thereby making sure we cover the needs. But apparently now our expedition returned. So just before this episode started, I actually funded an expedition which just cost like 2,500 gold. Without us knowing what we would get in return. Apparently we just get some random stuff, but especially the boost to happiness is quite significant. I mean, this won't keep our people happy forever if we don't meet their needs, but it's just a general boost to happiness. As you can see, the religion part of this equation has been fixed now, quite heavily. Only the merchants are, once again, kind of being difficult about it. They have been being difficult about everything, but okay, so far so good. Education should probably be ticking up now as well. It's not a fast process as anything with these needs, so just to make sure it doesn't explode one way or another without us being aware of that. But yeah, that should be just fine now. And the religion as well, I think that should be ticking up. Important to notice now, our housing is at the maximum score. Everyone is actually living in a stone house. So that should allow us to keep people happy for a very long time. And just as I was wondering what to do next, we actually got this pop-up, and another seeds trader is trying to sell us a certain seed, which in this case is beetroot. So let's just buy that. And honestly, in terms of food, there is some reason that we might want to consider, well, just spicing up our food production anyway. I mean, once again, you can't have too much food. So let's see where we can fit in a few more crops. Now, I think actually, looking at the quality of the area that we have left, this is going to be a pretty decent spot. Over here, We also have a spot over here that seems fairly decent. Once again, it's not full fertility, but we don't have that many really fertile areas in this map. Remember, we are playing on a relatively hard difficulty type of map, so just to make sure we are challenging ourselves. And, well, honestly, while we're at it, let's just add in a few more fields, because I think this will actually nicely fit in. A few more fields like this. Once again, they are all in range of our farm center, so that's really nice. They will get a buff to production one way or another. Let's make sure we add in a few more farmers. Corn is something we have gotten, so this will actually produce 900 corn per year, so that's really nice. Beetroot, yep. I'm actually not sure that we already did the lettuce. Now, as you can see, we are currently having some issues making sure this is supplied. It has everything to do with the timing, once again, of how these farms work. They produce something once per year, and that means part of the year we'll actually see our distilleries not working. That's actually something we can fix through our trading. So rather than selling our leather off, which we're currently doing, what we could also say, for example, let's say wheat. Just go and trade that. But let's make sure we always have 250. And if you keep it at this setting, so import or export until you reach this target quantity, that'll actually allow us to stabilize that. So we also want to do this for the plums. Where are you? I'm probably scrolling right past it. No, I'm not. There we go. And as you can see, we currently have 0 plums. That's because people are also eating them. Selling the decoration still makes sense. What's the last one that we need? Apples, right? Yeah. So let's go and find the apples in our list. It's not alphabetical for some reason. And once again, let's just make sure we always have 250 in stock. And that way we can make sure that these things are a little bit more efficient in how they work. What else do we need? We already put the beetroots down, right? Yep. We are probably just going to get a bit more wheat. And why are we doing that? Well, that brings me to the next thing I want to do, because over here we have a windmill, and this allows us to make wheat into probably flour or something like that, and then into bread, which of course is a more luxury type of food. And well, who doesn't like the smell of bread in the morning, freshly baked? Slight panic on my side there, because while I was talking I actually noticed my food was slowly dwindling down, and well, that's one way to kill off your entire colony. If this ever hits 0, people are going to die really fast, and yeah, we definitely don't want that to happen. So I built another fisherman's hut, upgraded it fully. I actually also made a fishery over here, all the way on the other side. That was kind of cool, everyone fishing in a pond, and apparently that works. I don't know. It's not the most efficient way to produce fish, actually. I mean, if you compare the production of a fishery compared to a... this is 1200 compared to a fisherman's hut, which does this with the same amount of people, actually produces about 3 times as much for a lower upkeep, actually. Wow, this is actually really bad. I knew it was bad, I just didn't know it was this bad. Honestly, if we ever get into lumber issues, because apparently this takes a lot of lumber, I'm not sure what they're feeding these fish, but apparently it's lumber. We might want to just demolish this and replace it with a fisherman hut. Yeah, I'll leave it in for now just because it looks cool. But honestly, don't use this unless you really have to. Now, anything else? We built a gatherer's hut and a hunting lodge. Why? Because we can, and I like the variety of having different types of food. But that's all. So now I think we can see the food going up again. Of course, it is not winter just yet, but I think we should be fine, especially considering the fishermen's huts are going to produce additional fish during the winter. I actually made the other hut produce crabs instead. Why? Because, again, variety. But that also gives us another lumber upkeep. So we'll have to watch if this is actually worth it. But right now I'm having no issues with lumber. I do have an issue with firewood. As you can see, I'm using a lot more than I'm producing. So I actually set up a couple of these. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to click that one. There we go. Actually, we were not going to sell crabs anyway. So the thing you can do is just basically set this to a higher number, something like 5,000 just to be safe. And have this go in both directions just to make sure that we are going to be able to supply some firewood through this dock. And make sure we don't have people get cold during the winter. But even so, a little worried about how fast my firewood is going down. It has everything to do with the fact that we are right now building houses hand over fist. Actually had to build a whole entire new district of houses just a moment ago as well, because once again we ran out. So yes, that is a thing, and that's just something we'll need to take into account. Now what else? We were going to build some farms, and the real problem is we don't really have an obvious location for those farms anymore, but I think I'll just build it here in the semi-fertile part. A fire broke out, that's not good. Let me build my things already. Where is the fire? Where's the fire? I was just thinking maybe I should place down some more wells. Where is this fire you speak of? It's bringing me here. I just don't actually see the fire. Is the fire already out or what? Oh no, it's not. It just needed to get started. Now, where are our wells? I'm pretty sure we have wells over here, don't we? I mean, yes, there's literally a well in range. Then again, it's not in range of this, so we're going to have to build another well anyway. That's fine. I mean, not the worst thing, but apparently the wells do not prevent all fires. They don't claim to do so, but anyway. There's not really anything we can do other than hope that these houses don't burn down. But considering we do actually have a well over here, I think / hope we should be fine. And let's hope that's actually the case though. I don't actually know if the little people are actually actively fighting the fire, because everyone just seems to be completely ignoring the whole fire. And yeah, okay. So apparently that doesn't work, but we can just rebuild, and it actually comes with the upgrades. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure why we lost the houses this time around. Well, last time we actually had to build the well to actually be able to put them out, and we didn't lose anything. So that's interesting, to say the least. We have a low amount of workers, by the way, even though it doesn't feel like it. We have 33 workers and 21 carriers, so you would say, it shouldn't take too long for people to bring stuff to this place, but apparently I'm wrong about that. So this well is going to be built eventually, but in the meanwhile, let's make sure that we are starting to finally build those windmills. Now, how much wheat production do we already have? So we have 600, 1200, we had a wheat production somewhere else, didn't we? Did we? I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, here. Yeah, so that's a lot. So we have about, let's say, 2500 wheat production. That feels like it's more than enough. It's good to know that we also have this upgrade that basically increases the windmill production if it's near a field. So makes sense to kind of build it over there, I suppose. And let's see, where is the windmill actually? It's over here. What a nice little windmill. It's actually going to cost us 500 wheat per year, which means we should be able to just simply plop down about 2 of them, I think. Well, we could plop down more than that, but that might be slightly overkill. Actually, maybe it's not overkill. Maybe put down a 3rd one. There we go. We do have something that uses wheat here as well. That's only 225. So that basically means we're producing a lot of wheat, and we're not doing anything with that. My wheat pronouncements might be completely off, by the way. I am not entirely sure, but let's also make sure we upgrade the hell out of this. So this is worker slots, this is production, and this is just simple upkeep. So that makes sense. We probably do not want to have 9 people working here straight from the get-go. I'm going to upgrade the expansion anyway, just because, but we might want to put in some additional people at some point. Actually, I just realized it didn't make any sense to build 3 windmills, considering 3 windmills with 1 person is the same as 1 windmill with 3 people in it. So, okay, I didn't really think that one through, did I? Let's see. But we do need a bakery, so let's not make the same mistake. We are currently producing about 2100 flour. Okay, that's a lot of flour. Once again, that I might have overdone it a little bit. So that means we could actually place down 10 bakeries, or actually no, 10 people producing bread in the bakery. Let's see. Where are we actually going to put that? Probably not too far off. Somewhere, maybe we can actually do it like this. Let's make a little road over here. Like, oh, you can actually do it like this. It suggests that the building is on the road, but apparently it's not. And then bakery. There we go. So, considering we were just a moment ago worried about food, we might as well put down 2 bakeries. And luckily these things are being built slightly faster than everything else. What is our candle shop missing? It actually needs wool. Oh, that's interesting. Are we actually producing wool? We are producing wool. It's from the sheep. That's good. But we could actually maybe produce a little bit more than that. Because this actually uses all the wool we are producing from these sheep. And this is with 12 sheep. So, interesting. Anyway, yep, let's assign someone here. And once again, I literally just made the same mistake again. Anyway, let's just assign one person to each. Improved ovens actually gives us additional production, so this is going to give us huge amounts of production. And then the same thing over here. Let's just upgrade this while we're at it. There we go. That doesn't actually do anything until we assign someone here, but it does mean that we, in theory, are able to put 4 additional people in here, and that would actually require a huge amount of firewood. So what I'm actually wondering now, do I need to set up like a huge lumber / firewood production? Because as you can see, the numbers are dwindling really fast now. So the answer to that is probably yes. The real question is though, where do I want to do that? Do I simply put more foresters in this area? I mean, we're not going to be building anything else in here. So we could. I'm just not entirely sure that we should. The real question is, do those overlapping foresters actually harm each other or not? Let's see. It feels like they do, because like you can see, if I put a forester here, it's only at 50% capacity. And if I move it out, it actually goes up. And if I just put it down here in the middle of nowhere, even if there's no trees around, it's actually more efficient, or at least as efficient, even though there's barely any trees around here. So, bottom line is, I don't think having multiple foresters overlap is really all that efficient. Even though we do already have that over here. And it doesn't seem to harm these foresters too much. I mean, this is almost only planting and cutting. Yeah, let's just try maybe adding 2 more foresters over here and just see where that gets us. Foresters. 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 Maybe somewhere like over here. I'm guessing this is a low efficiency for the simple reason that... There we go. Let's just have a little duo. And then have one actually plant and cut, and then the other one simply planting, so we kind of fill up this area with more trees as well. Look at those little windmills milling along with the bakeries in the back. They're not really being supplied with enough wheat at the moment, or at least they're missing something. It's actually not wheat, it's the flour. But yeah, that should fix itself, hopefully. I mean, this seems to be working just fine. And then that should mean that this will be just fine as well. I'm not entirely sure why it's taking so long, but it might have something to do with the fact that we don't have enough free workers. Once again, I would say that about 60 workers on a population of 200 should be enough. I mean, counting the carriers as well. But I might have been kind of like overextending myself, building too much. Now I'm gonna make that slightly worse, just slightly. because we just unlocked a new distillery as well, and now we can make wine, and who doesn't like wine? We also want to get this upgrade because this will actually make our distilleries produce more if they're next to an orchard, and well, they are. That's what we kept in mind when we built these things. So let's make sure we make the most out of that. Now we are actually going to have to take down this little thing, because this is actually the place I want to build one of those distilleries. Where is the distillery? There it is. Oh, this should count as adjacent as well because it's next to that one. And then this one can be used to get some more wine. Now I actually had to build even more houses that apparently I built the lower version house for some reason. There we go, we have that problem fixed. I built some of the normal ones and some of the stone ones. Interesting. Anyway, that problem should be fixed just now. And once this is done, we will be actually making some wine. Now, there is one more thing that I need to mention, and that's the fact that I kind of panicked over here for a moment with the food production. I might have overdone it, but once again, there's no such thing as too much food. And apparently the game is now telling me to retire. Well, okay. Well, actually, it's not telling me to retire, but a pirate of the high seas wants to retire in our city. We can take a huge hit, get some new citizens, and some hit to loyalty as well. That's interesting. And this is basically getting a lot of loyalty bonus in order for a negative on everything else. I don't really care about the coin, to be honest, but 7 new citizens? Nah. We'll get more than enough stuff from and citizens from the 90 younglings that we have that are about to grow up. So we're going to add one more to this. Let's make sure we optimize this though, so we pay as little as we can and get as much as we can as a result. You're not supposed to be making beer, you're supposed to be making wine. There we go. So now we have somewhere for those grapevines to go and be turned into yummy stuff. Okay, I think that was it for this episode. We have done quite a few things. We actually sent our people to school. We are also now able to send our people to the church. We are now baking bread and we're making wine. Wine and bread. How biblical is that for the fact that we have a church now? Anyway. Next time, what we will focus on, we will actually focus on the harbor as well as on the council hall. That should be really interesting and unlock quite a few new options. Caravan trader, interesting as well. And something to do with oil. Well, sounds good. We also have some upgraded versions of the safety net, so the guardhouse is a nice upgrade. So all in all, a lot of new stuff to do in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, comment, etc. You know what to do, and I will catch you in the next one.